mysterious story.
For the reason that I've had many requests to investigate jump scare videos, I put a lot of effort to include just ones that happened naturally and without special effects. So join in the fun and leave a comment letting us know which ones piqued your interest the most. Number 12. John Shoemaker, a YouTuber, seems to be discovering an abandoned road on Elm Street in Ohio. An infamous old mansion with a lengthy and eerie past is said to sit at the end of this overgrown gravel path. The route is dangerously closed, and they must break the rules merely to get there. After a while, their headlights hardly throw light on the dark and disintegrating facade of a house that appears to be more of a spooky old hut than a place where any regular person would ever live. Because the front porch is an impassable heap of broken boards and jagged wooden splinters, John must travel around the perimeter to look for another way in. There is a scratched-up wooden door that serves as the back entrance. Despite the fact that John doesn't know whether someone still lives here or not, he turns the corroded knob and enters. The inside is desolate and uninsulated. And there is a lengthy ventilation duct running the length of the wall, entirely exposed. Pipes dangle from threads for no apparent purpose. He pauses for a bit before taking a single hesitant step inside. When there is not anything that takes place, he takes another step, making the error of lowering his guard.
That's over here.
Just as he thinks he's secure, a blue humanoid figure appears from the bottom of the screen and jumps him. Despite the fact that this may be one of his pals, here's the thing: if you look attentively at the monster that appears before him, you'll notice that it has only one deformed eye. Number 11. Ghost Robo, a YouTuber, is answering fan queries. They discuss anything from going back to school to Transformers before taking a brief pause to make some minor tweaks.
Let's see.
It seems that the room cools down and the talk builds up until they are left wide-mouthed and pale by a real-life jump fright.
Pretty cool. I never watched the show or anything, but they're pretty cool.
Jake has a transformer. That's the
I'm asking myself whether the lightning struck the side of their house because it sounded so close. In any case, the three of them spend more than 30 seconds gathering themselves and continue. Number 10. This mother is sitting on the terrace when she gets startled by a huge boom.
No, I said loud.
No, I said emphatically. It is such a huge boom that it rocked the camera and suddenly lights up the room, despite the fact that it is midday. I expect that Chris was aware of what he was doing because that sounded dangerously near to the house. Number 9. It seems that this video has origin in the YouTube channel The Slamming Door in Poland, which was named after a noisy poltergeist who haunts a little property in Europe. The home's owner finally installed cameras in all of the main rooms to film the aggressive spirit in action. Everything appears to be normal in this bedroom until around 50 seconds into the video when the poltergeist commands to be recognized. It is aimed at a video game collection and drops cases on the floor. Despite the fact that this may have been done using a string, if you look closely, it appears that an unsighted being swipes everything off the shelf with one fluid stroke of their arm. Moreover, this is a comparatively large gaming collection, so if the video was a hoax, you'd assume they'd knock over something cheaper that they don't collect or care about the quality of. This final footage was what eventually drove them out of the house. It appears that they get into only to discover that the house has been trashed, and it appears that a spirit is watching them about as they examine each room. They come back to the previous video's bedroom, where they discover something that makes them jump. The kitchen light moves back and forth wildly on the way out, and a chair briefly pulls out on its own. Despite the fact that I hoped that they had filmed the whole room so we could confirm that there is not anyone else that was present, they were clearly in too much of a hurry to adequately document the incidents. Number 8. This old abandoned log home slowly deteriorating in the woods is being investigated by the YouTube series Urban Exploring with Cappy. The cabin appears to be part of a tiny village that was developed recently enough to include power lines. It seems that Cappy and his pal begin to investigate the log cabin. They assume this property was abandoned in the 1950s or 1960s based on the vintage inside, yet what drove them out from this location is unknown. Finally, the two friends discover a stepladder going to an already open attic. Because it brings a horrible vibe to them, so one of them yells,
Hello? Is there an animal up there?
"They didn't come all the way out here to just sit here," so Cappy scales the ladder and looks about.
Whoa!
Cappy is startled by a loud noise and leaps off the ladder in amazement. They didn't seem to return there to conduct an investigation, therefore, we weren't aware whether the noise was made by a human, an animal, or something else entirely. Number 7. When this black spider reaches the end of a room, it is cornered by the camera. You can watch the exact instant it turns around and assesses the human getting up in front of it. It raises its head slightly to further focus its 8-eyed sight on them. The outsized bug has no choice but to maintain its ground, so it spreads into a wide stance to appear as enormous and terrifying as possible. Wriggling its small front arms is a further warning, however, the display of intimidation fails miserably. The individual goes on recording, utterly unaware of what is about to occur to them next. The spider appears to miss the camera and settles someplace on her hand or arm, or if she was near enough, possibly caught in her hair. Number 6. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky appears to have been condemned since the early 1960s, yet it is said that the spirits of its former residents still roam its rubble-filled halls. Lindsay Rogers takes a ghost hunting team through the dark asylum, and it isn't long before paranormal activity overruns them.
What the? Holy shit!
The sound of a door opening is heard, and despite the fact that Lindsay can be seen looking right, the door remains closed. There's another banging sound, almost like a body hitting the ground. We'll have no idea for sure without further video footage. Number 5. There is a wild dog snatching a piece of meat and eats it hungrily in huge pieces in the corner. The dog's ribs seem to protrude, and I'm sure it hasn't had a meal like this in a long time. There is no doubt that we are willing to go to any length to keep this food, as you'll see in a moment. The animal tensely grips the camera and then charges it. It seems to chomp the fence in an attempt to get at him at the 6-second mark. Fortunately, the videographer looks to be unharmed. Number 4. Lord British LP appears to be getting up on his porch when a massive storm sweeps across his neighborhood. Because his internet is down, he makes a video on nothing in particular to pass the time. That's when he turns briefly blind. A bolt of lightning strikes the streetlight before his house, filling his vision with white light. To get away, he curses his way inside his house. It's easy to overlook, so I ringed the lightning-struck street lamp to show you how close he came to being literally toasted. In the middle of the afternoon, a beautiful kitchen is undoubtedly one of the least terrifying environments. So did I, until this 3-second video demonstrated me wrong. Despite the fact that both of us have jumped out from at the back of a corner to terrify someone, I've never seen a YouTube video mimic that experience until now. Tyler 1 deserves credit for keeping the video as simple as possible while still getting the job done. Number 2. This snake charmer is eager to show off his ability to tame untamed reptiles by matching their energy with his own. To his credit, he is able to push down on this cobra snake's head with 2 fingers. It does, however, emit a deep and low warning hiss, therefore, he shouldn't feel too secure just yet. The snake retrieves its senses and lunges as soon as their physical contact is broken. Despite the fact that the cobra reaches the camera's edge, it misses his hand. Even though I hope that he learns from this unsuccessful endeavor, I have my doubts. Number 1. This is such a long enormous snake that it spends a full 20 seconds recording its full length. When the camera person eventually reaches the other end of the snake, they are transformed into prey. The reptile has already turned to face them and appears to have been looking forward to them the entire time. The camera person has only a few seconds to let out a shocked yell before the snake lunges directly at their face. Examine its color and patterns, and then write a comment indicating what sort of snake you believe it is. And I'm expecting that we are able to discover out where this happened and if the snake was venomous, in which case I suspect that this person was alive. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because I upload a new video every day. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of my other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy.